Here's my analysis video for the surprising February 15th update to Fistful of Frags. I mean, I'm very surprised that this and the last update have been this long in terms of text. Added, one thing, the player per respawn statistics at map end from the console. I've never seen that happen. Basically, what that means is he's saying that, I guess, in chat, you get a message at the end of when a map ends, when a round ends, you get a message in chat saying how many times like you died pretty much and respawned. I've never seen that happen to me once. So I don't know if that's a broken feature or some servers don't support it or what's going on with that. This is what changed. Now this right here is one of the dumbest changes I'd say the game has had done to it in the last year. Right here. The max slots allowed for certain maps has been changed. It's been, according to him, reworked into something more flexible, but potentially a lot more confusing. Even he admits it's stupid. The change affects free-for-all shootout mainly, 24 slot maps. So what he's doing is he's limiting the amount of people that can be on a server based off of what map the server is running at the time. So for big maps like Fistful and Cripple Creek, 24 people max, 20 on Desperados and Nest, and the rest just supports up to 16, with some of them, I guess, can only have 12, too. If a server loads a map which exceeds the slot limit, then the next map we load. I'm trying to understand this here, but he even says it's confusing himself. If a server loads map. Okay, I guess I'm kind of getting what he's saying. If a server loads a map which exceeds a slot limit, then the next map will be loaded. I guess. Man, I kind of think that's kind of contradictory there. Because if a server loads a map that allows 24 people, then if you can do that on a shootout server, then why would it load the next one? I really don't get that. That kind of doesn't make any sense. Custom maps have no slot limit, blah blah. There's very few of those ran on the popular servers, so that's kind of a waste of time and doesn't really affect much. All regular maps are supported in 24 slot servers hosting a team shootout. So what he's doing here, as I said, he's limiting the amount of people that can be in a server, a shootout server at least, based off of what map the server's running at the time. Now, keep in mind that this game is dead as hell. It is dead. I mean, the peak amount of players that you will find on it during the daytime on any given day, will be like 100 between. Well, I guess if you want to talk about a day itself, between like the lowest point in the day, there might be 20 people on the server. And I mean, not on a server, on the game itself. On the entire game, 20 people will be playing. At the lowest point in the day, I'd say it's down to 20. And at the highest point in the day, maybe 200, 150, 250, maybe 300 on a really popular day after a huge update or something, or after some exposure from a YouTuber. So you're talking between a player base that's so small, you have between 20 to 300 people playing at any given time. That's it. 20 to 300 people. And if you compare that to an actually popular game that isn't dead, like GTA 5 or Fortnite or something, you have, I would assume you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. So compare 100,000 people to 20 to 300. That gives you a really nice perspective of how dead this game is. And he's limiting. It's hard to fill the servers to start with. And keep in mind that until like I can't remember exactly what update it was. Maybe I can find it here real quick. Basically, in an update a while back, um, okay, I can't even find it. But in an update a long time ago, but I think it was last year, he the max amount of people that used to be allowed in any server, regardless of the game mode, if it was a team shootout, a team play, uh, regular shootout, deathmatch, the amount of people that could be held into a server max was 32. Then he updated it and he made it max 24. So he basically cut every server down a fourth of the size. Now he's cutting it down to max 16, max 20, and I guess even max 12. And I would say at starting in the late evening throughout the entire night and in the early morning, it's hard to find more than one or two, maybe three servers that are close to capacity. And by close to capacity, I mean if a server can have 24 people in it, I mean close to Pega is like if it has max 24 people, it has maybe 15 or above in it. That's what I'm talking close to capacity. There might be one to three servers during that time frame. I've even had some times during like late, like early morning at around like 3, 4, 5 in the morning, where there's zero servers. Not a single server is close to capacity. You might find one that has like 10 people in it, and it can hold 20 or 24. Then it becomes extremely dead, and you won't find a single server that's packed. But what I'm saying is, the servers that we have already, when they had 32 slots, that was good. He limited to 24. And now for shootout servers, he's limiting it to between 12 to 24. So he's cutting it in half. He's basically taking a third off for some maps, four off for some, and half for the rest. It's hard to get packed servers the way it is with how dead the game is, and he's making it harder to get a packed server. I mean, if everybody could congregate into a server that could hold 32 people, that there you go. But now, maybe he's trying to like split up the people. I don't know what he's doing here. He doesn't say why he does this. He never does. He never says, I did this because I think this needs to be changed and there were some people asking for this. He never says that. He never does. Maybe he's trying to split people up into more servers or trying to get more variety. I'm just trying to theorize at this point. I don't know. I can't talk for him. He's a freaking recluse. Rebel Y. He's a freaking douchebag recluse. That's very vague in his update notes. But anyway, I just don't get that limiting the server. And also another thing you got to take into mind is regardless of what the purpose of this is, if it's to spread people out or whatever, the less people you can have in a server max, the harder it is going to be to find people. Like I never play in a server that only has like 10 people in it and they can have max 20 or 24 because why do that when you could join a more popular server and have more be able to get more kills, find more people to shoot, It just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you can only have max 12 people in a server, it's going to be hard to find people to kill. But anyway, more stupid as hell stuff right here. Just freaking stupid. On Overtop, I checked this out as I did in the last, as I said, in the last update video I did. Basically, there's a railroad line that runs through the center of the map. Below that, there's a hallway. What he did was he put a stairway sort of in the center of that hallway that goes down to a chest, a red crate. And the problem, I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I find two issues. The stairway, it pretty much takes up the entire hallway. So what he did is he put a fence there, a wooden fence, so he blocked it off. That does not help the map flow. Like, he did in a couple updates back, he wanted to make the map flow better, so he blocked off 2 flights of stairs and he blocked off a doorway. How does that make a map flow better when it makes it harder to get around? Like that. I can see making it easier to get down to a chest and get up from a lower level, but then he blocks off the hallway doing so. He puts a stairway in, but he blocks off the hallway in the process. So you add a way to get up, but you remove a way to move around a hallway. So I think that the amount of good he did by adding a stairway was reversed in blocking off the hallway the stairway is located in. And he moved the chest placement around a little bit. He moved the chest where it was at, and he added like some set design, set dressing down there. He put a couple of little like boxes in. And I also, the second issue I have with this change is that if somebody's opening the chest, they're standing there, they're opening the chest. If somebody comes down the stairway behind them, they're dead. I mean, you're an open target, there's barely any cover there. Unless you stand way off to the side when you're opening the chest, that's the only way you can not instantly be seen by somebody coming down the stairs. That's my one problem is it pretty much what would you call that? It's counterintuitive in terms of flow. And the second thing is that there's a lack of cover. Last change. On Revenge, there was apparently performance optimizations, an additional respawn room added, respawn spot prone to miss nearby enemies fixed. And like I said in the previous video, I've not played on FOF Revenge in a long time. I rarely ever do because it's an old map and not many servers even cover it. They don't even run the map anymore. It's pretty dead. So I haven't played on that in a long time, and I haven't bothered to even check any of this out. I never had any problems with performance on the map either, so I'm not sure what he's doing there to optimize performance, but anyway, that was kind of a... I just don't get doing all this work to a map that's kind of dead. Like, it's sort of back when the game was new, it was a very popular map, but now, 7 years later almost, it's rarely ever played on. This is what was fixed. Apparently there was issues with his respawn system that he completely redesigned it from scratch, the respawn system, and apparently there was issues with it where 2 people would spawn at the same spot, not accounting for first time respawn wave right, not dealing with distances properly at certain spots, a check to avoid using previous respawns. I kind of like this right here. Out of all this junk, I kind of like a check to avoid using previous respawn points when possible. So basically, if you spawn at one spot, the game's going to try to make sure you spawn somewhere else the next time to give you variety and, move you around the map. I like that. I like that change. Even though it's not 100%, he says when possible, so it's not always going to be like that. But I like that change. The rest is pretty much junk. And to be honest, my opinions on the respawn system, I played between this update, and I got one for sure, one bad spawn that was terrible. I got a couple other that were like they were maybes. That was kind of bad. It wasn't terrible, but it was bad. And so I don't know. It seems like a slight improvement, this new system, but it's not a complete fix, basically. And the map timer on some maps, I guess, was displaying wrong times when they try to exceed limit. Not a very pressing issue at all, but he had to fix it. So there you go, February 15th update. Out of the entire thing, we have not working, stupid as hell, counterintuitive, waste of time, uh, kind of a waste too, and waste. There you go. There's your summary. Now I'm curious of when the next update's going to be. It's been a couple days already and there's been nothing, so I'm wondering.